G'day legends, welcome back to Roadside, presented by Zwift. We're back again for our daily coverage brought to you by Society. The Tour Down Under is here, Tommy. We've had the first stage of the women's, it's just completed. We had Wollonga, the circuit that we've seen, and geez, it was just good to get the race underway.
Yeah, it certainly was, wasn't it? It was an okay stage, wasn't it? You know, like there was a lot of talked about, it's Wollonga. We're going to see Wollonga come into action. Obviously, you know, they designed the race. The course today, it was 137 kilometres, 3 laps of this sort of circuit that took you through McLaren Vale, the coast, SA Tourism. They had an absolute field day, didn't they?
Did.
But the climb wasn't used, was it, today's course? It was just sort of up to the village, the township.
It was just the lower slopes of the climb. We will get into that. It was a thrilling finale, and it's a very powerful solo effort, which we will talk about. But the Tour Down Under is here, Tommy. We arrived yesterday. I was yesterday. You were the day before. We went down and saw the team's presentations as well. Of course, we'll get into the racing, but the team's prezzo is an institution. It is the Friday night. It's 7 p.m. It's an hour and 15 minutes. It's quick. There's music, a few interviews. It's a pretty good, it's a pretty good display, isn't it?
They've got the formula right, haven't they?
Yeah.
You know, other races around the world, they'll have prezzos, you know, the big grand tours every day is like that.
Yeah.
And teams get allocated a slot to come and sign on. TDU are like, no, we're just going to, you got to do your sign on every day. But they're not going to make a big song and dance about it. You know, they're not going to make that the big one team at a time. It doesn't work. They do the one big sign on at the start. And then you can kind of roll up every day when you want, sort of thing, on your own accord, which is the perfect way because it adds so much value to the race. Friday night was brilliant. A lot of people being like, that is the biggest crowd I've seen. A lot of riders saying that is the biggest crowd I've seen.
Makes it feel like rock stars, doesn't it? Because they get to come up, they go up stage, all the women, they get their hair done, they get them all, looking nice.
The blokes get their hair done, let's be honest, come on,
mate. They do as well, they're looking schmick. But it is a chance for the riders to be the real superstars and get up and be applauded, which is always really nice. And then they finished the night with Hot Dog Time Machine, which was absolutely pumping as well.
You were there till the end, weren't you?
Oh, yeah.
You were there, mate.
No, in bed by... actually got woken up by, I'll tell you who in a minute.
What?
Now, the expo area as well was open, and that was frothing. And they've added 2 extra hours to the expo area this year for all the businesses and brands in there because the thoroughfare is that high. So I was talking to one of the great lads, Langy from FE Sports.
Oh, I love him. Good
he
man.
said they've added an extra 2 hours to their day because it's so chock-a-block in there. And Pinarello, they've spent a lot of money. They've spent a lot of money in the expo on their little fit out. They've got all the Pinarellos on the wall.
FE Sports, the one who've bought into the table. So
well, they have.
Yeah.
But Pinarello, they've definitely had their hand in it, I think, because they're giving away the bike. There is a bike in there. It is a $30,000 setup. A Pinarello, top of the wazoo.
Yep.
Every best bit of
Rockin'
kit. Campy. It's everything. It's fitted out with the best of FE Sports products. So
yes, it is.
You can go and scan the QR code in the expo area at the Pinarello station, and I'm drawing it actually on Sunday.
Are you?
Yeah, I scanned it and I said to Langy, I said, hey, what if I draw myself? What happens then? Because my ticket's in there, mate.
Because I went past and Langy said, have you entered? And I said, it would be highly unethical if I did. You know, don't every now and then the ethical compass does sway north.
Well, put a fake name in. And, so, yeah.
I'll put my brother's name in. There you go.
There you go. So
make
sure you
sign up the family, sign up, family, friends.
You just scan it. It's free to enter. And they're also doing the demo bikes as well, Pinarello. So check them out.
Brilliant. Pinarello, yes. Pirelli. Buy one, get one free.
Buy one, get one free. Any tyre you want. The top of the wazoo, the P0s, or the P0 races, or the P0 roads, or your endurance tyre. That tyres are expensive. Just go down there and get a set. Get your year's worth. That's what I'd be doing.
My luggage came over, had 23 kilos, and I clocked in at 22.8. So I'm problematic. Hey, I don't know if I'll be able to buy. I might put a new fresh set on when I leave.
Mate, the old 737-800 might have a couple of Pirellis on. Now, first day on the tours as well for us. Tommy is working in the village, doing the emceeing there, which is a big job. I'm doing the KOM sprint commentary for the men's and women's. Your day, quickly, Tommy, how was it out there in the village?
It's not too bad. The village was sort of humming along, you know. It builds to a crescendo of the stage finale, so to speak. So you get a lot of people who come in, I think they ride in the morning, they don't want to go to the racing, particularly Wollonga. Yeah, it's hard, you know. Day. Sure, yeah, that's the Wollonga circuit. It's a magnet, but it's hard to get to. So I think you get some people who just are happy to ride in the morning and then come down to the Mismatch Brewing Bar, have a few beers, watch the end of the racing, and I'm sort of cooling and working my way through that. And it built, and then it sort of evaporated pretty quickly. But it was a good day nonetheless. Yourself? You were at the start-finish line for the day.
It was good, yeah. Start-finish line of the day, looked after very nicely by the team, and Macca and Peter Mullins and I were calling the race, and we did the sign-on, so got to talk to all the riders on the way through.
Who'd you get to talk to? Come on. Who'd you grab? Who did you grab by the
scruff?
Well,
one of my favourite Canyon SRAM riders, Chloe Dygett, talked to her. She was very coy. And then, of course, Macca, the great man, he threw me the interview for Magdalene Valère.
Wow.
Valères, is how you should say it, and the world champion. That was cool.
What'd you ask her? You pull out a bit of French, did you?
Well, Canadian, so I just talked a bit of about her new kit. She had the world champs, she had the socks, the shoes, the helmet, she had the stripes on all of those bits of kit, and she's, very happy to be here in Australia.
Yeah, she is. You reckon she's on the pay packet? She flew in really late to the race. It was interesting. She's flown in from Europe super late. Only got here maybe a day or two ago. So the rest of the team had been here, and she's flown in, I'm pretty sure, quite late. Do you reckon she's here for a pay packet or to perform?
Well, I understand that Stewie O'Grady works very hard, the race director, to squeeze the teams to try and get the best riders here. Yep. And I'm sure that may come with a few pesos when you're the world champ. That's what really is on offer. So pretty impressive. Now, a bit of housekeeping as well, the daily episodes. We're doing dailies, recapping the racing every single day. After the stages, somewhere between 6:30 and 7 p.m. Adelaide time, they will be uploaded, and sometimes earlier, sometimes a bit later, with the exception of the prologue, which finishes at 8:30 p.m. So that will be a later episode. Mismatch Brewing, you can see we've got the beers here. The legends have actually hooked us up. We've got, look at this slab of lagers.
Hold that tight.
So, mate, you'll get it on the laptop. So, the Mismatch Brewing, they are the official beer partner of the Tour Down Under this year, replacing Hahn. And Hahn are great, but these days, I think we want beers like Mismatch Brewing, the nice local brewery here in Adelaide.
Absolutely.
We are going to be at the Mismatch Brewing place called Lot 100. That's their big sort of winery brewery venue. It is on stage 3 of the men's, which finishes in Nan, and this Lot 100 is right around the corner.
It is. So I'm going to be Ubering up there, mate, for a bit of a session. We're going to do a pod that day, aren't we? And
Tommy has to.
You're driving home.
Tommy's going to. He's going to take a 45-minute Uber to get out to Lot 100. Unless anybody
wants to go out to Lot 100 for the pod.
Hey, if someone wants to drop Tommy off after, please do. You'll save us a fare. But we're going to be there recording our pod and sampling a few of the finest. And it should be a nice location for those who are watching on YouTube. And finally, Tuesday the 20th, Magene. I'll be interviewing Shane Miller, GP Llama, 4:30 to 5:30. That's right before the prologue starts at 6. So come check that out in the expo area. And finally, we'll be sharing some photos across our Instagram for our Society Player of the Days, Tommy, and whose photos will we be using?
Big bad Russ
Ellis. Mr. Cycling Images.
Yes.
On Instagram.
One of the best professional photographers.
Everyone would be following already.
Yeah, precisely.
He's probably the most experienced in the game, and Chris Photos. So if you see those images...
You've got a couple of his prints already, don't you?
I've got Carapaz when he won the Giro, when he was riding for Movistar, and I've got him in the individual time trial.
What a banger.
In the leader's jersey. So, all right, Tommy, let's get into this. Roadside, presented by Zwift.
Well, our summer coverage, it is brought to you by Society. They make absolutely premium cycling clothing back in WA. They're a Perth brand. They give us support. We absolutely love them as well. Go to their website, Society Cycling. Have a look at their brand. They've got a stacked range of kit that you can scoop up at a very decent price point. Even better when you use Roadside 15 Jet. You save 15% off full priced items.
You do, that's right. You can support us if you like these podcasts. Get behind Society. I know many of you have used our code Roadside 15 already, and you can get a chance to look a little bit different than others out there who might be pumping the same kit. So big thanks to Society, Roadside 15. Now, the day, Tommy, let's start off with the opening stage. We had a 1.5k neutral. The first Zip Track sprint with the bonus GC seconds was at about 17k to go. So the peloton rolled out to that really before competing for that sprint. None of the big GC riders got it. Marta Luck was around there. UAE had a rider in there as well. And Visma, they were the teams that managed to go over the line 1, 2, 3 in that first one. And at about the 30-kilometre mark, we got our first attacker proper, and it was one of the riders from Uno X Mobility, and it was Alicia Vigilia, the Italian, who she attacked. They let her go, and her gap quickly went out to like about a minute within 10 kilometres.
Yeah, fascinating one, wasn't it, to see the lack of interest in the breakaway.
Yeah.
It was perfectly executed, I thought, by the bigger teams who had a breakaway. FDJ, even SD Works and all those teams with sprinters were pretty quick to go, that is it. No more, that's it. And we're not going to have a repeat of what happened last year on the first stage where we saw a solo rider get up the road and win. Ali, our eventual winner, actually spoke about that post-race and said we got to work straight away. And that's obviously the French team. They had the big name. They took on the responsibility straight away.
Ali Wollaston, the leader of FDJ.
They started pulling straight away.
Yes, well, they did start pulling straight away, but you know when Alicia Vigilia, the Italian, when she finally got round to the first Queen of the Mountains, she wasn't full gas, breathing heavily just to make it to get to the points first because it was a 5-3-2 points selection, and she still had to come round for another lap and then another one for the finale. She came across and she was getting bottles. She was getting gel. She was stocking up because the feed zone was right before the actual Queen of the Mountains points. So basically, it showed intent from even about 40 or 41 kilometres into the race. Intent that she wasn't just there to crawl across the line, get the points, and sit up and go back. She had intent to go all the way. And she made it around another lap, and her gap got out to 3.5 minutes. Before the chase really started to get a little bit panicked because, you know, she was not losing time and the peloton were chasing, weren't they?
Yeah, it's a classic case of when you're a breakaway and you're up the road, you really can only take as much time as the peloton let you, particularly when you've got a team like FDJ, so switched on, and even more so when you're repeating what happened last year where we had a solo rider up the road who just kind of the peloton bungled it. It wasn't going to happen a second time. It got very close towards the end of the line, but she was riding within herself. The peloton let her take 3.5 minutes, and then they started reeling it back in. They got it down to 2.5, but I will give Vigilia absolute credit. The last minute, there was obviously the battle for trying to do the least amount of work from behind because numbers were reduced, but she made them work for it, didn't she?
She did. I think the peloton gave her 2 minutes. I think she took a minute and a half herself because they only had one FDJ rider, one FDJ United Suez rider on the front for quite a long time, and she just wasn't cutting the mustard. She was holding it, but Vigilia, through all the downhills, through the windy section along the coast and Aldinga Beach, she was not losing time. And I think it was about 50 Ks to go, finally, or a little bit longer than 40 Ks to go, finally, SD Works and EF committed one rider. And SD Works had Julia Kopecky, and she was pulling so strong that when she flicked off and the EF rider came through, the EF rider was cooked and the gap went back out. And it left us, Tommy, with an amazing scene of with 10 Ks to go, Vigilia still had 1 minute and FDJ were asking others to come through and help, and they started to roll through a bit more, and we got into the final 1.5 Ks to go. She had about 15 seconds.
Yeah, she did. It was coming down to a knife's edge, wasn't it? And it was that fascinating proposition of who's going to close down this last handful of seconds? Who's going to bring it back to maybe 100 metres where the sprinters can just roll through? And it was FDJ again, wasn't it? They had one last rider who came sort of through the washing machine, did a bit of a death pull, and really opened it up. And then we just saw the sort of heartbreak. And in the village as well, village is full, and everybody you could hear just cheering on the Italian up the road. Yeah. And there was a bit of heartbreak, but
it was the same at the finish line. There was a big groan when she got past because you could see her from the finish line. Everyone was looking down. We were building it up. She was going to get there, and then you just see Ali Wollaston launch out of the peloton. About 300 to go. She caught everyone off guard by just how early she went, and it is an uphill kick. It's about a 4% kick to the line, so a bit of a drag.
Yep.
She went so early, she opened up about 5 bike lengths, and she cleaned the field up.
I initially thought she had gone too early because we saw the footage of them, she hauled in the lead Italian, probably 250, 280 metres to go.
Yeah.
Uphill kick, and that's when she went, and I went, that's a long way to go. So she gapped everybody by 10 or 15 metres, 10 metres.
Smoked them. Absolutely smoked them.
Just put it beyond doubt that she is the fastest sprinter here. Tomorrow is a very difficult day. We'll talk about that in a minute, but she's in great form, isn't she?
She's in great form, and FDJ United Suez, everyone in that team contributed to that win because they needed all 6 of their riders needed to bring back Virgilia. She was that strong. It took all 6, and it came down in the last 250 metres. So it really was a team win. And after the race, they were all together. They hugged the team FDJ. They were so pleased. They knew it was a team effort, and they knew that they just got out of jail from almost doing the same thing last year in letting that breakaway, underestimating First Virgilia big time. They almost let it happen again, but luckily they were just a little bit more switched on. Now, Josie Nelson came second from Picnic Post NL, and then Femke Goretzke was in third. Naomi Rug, last year's GC winner, she's obviously in peak shape because she finished in 4th position, Tommy. And then a little bit of a shout out to Sophie Edwards from ARA Australia's team. She managed a top 10 with the 30 points on the line for the stage win. Ali also is the Zip Track points jersey wearer. 30 points for the stage win is too much.
You think?
Well, I think the points for
there's only 3 stages. You have to throw it up. I know,
but the points, the Zip Track sprints, I think it's only 5 points across the line for the intermediates. So if you put 30 up for grabs for the finish line, it really takes away the interest of some of the smaller riders going after those intermediates if you're just going to lose to the stage winner.
Well, but do you know if that's the case for the following 2 days?
Because, I don't, but it does seem like it's too much.
It might well change because obviously today you could... And this is a bit of an issue with cycling in general. We see it most noticeably at, the Grand Tours where the green jersey in a couple of years past has, been close to going to, say, a GC leader who's won a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, here I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow if maybe it's less, and then they make the intermediates more.
I'll have to check the book.
Stage. So we'll check the book.
Josie Nelson will be wearing that because she's in second place, so she'll be in that points jersey. The Queen of the Mountain, Virgilia, she took that. She took all the major points on offer for the Queen of the Mountains. The youth is Justina Zapla. She's from Kyrgyzstan. Is on the Crypto as the highest youth place, and then with the bonus seconds, the only thing that really changes is Olivia Baril, who is the Canadian who actually won the highest points available for the Zip Track sprints, taking I think 5 seconds in bonus GC time. So the GC is Ali in the Oka, Josie Nelson second, Olivia Baril quite fast actually in Movistar, in third place. So Tommy, I think there's one team we should talk about who got unlucky. We saw a crash in the final moments with Liverlula Jaco. Georgia Baker went down. She had her knee strapped up on the left-hand side. She went down in the gravel. Ruby Roseman Gannon was held up as well in that crash. They did not contribute at all to the day's chase. What do you make of that?
Yeah, it was good. Smart riding. I think they...
Why was it smart?
Well, it was smart because I don't think they were going to beat Ali Wollaston in the scenario given on the road at the moment. When you looked at it and you go, okay, we've got one rider up the road, you can heavily lean on the favourites.
Try and wear FDJ's team out by chasing.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what they had to do, and that's what they had to really do. And I thought, SD Works, even coming to the chase, ultimately, did enable, Ali to even have another teammate or two
the end. They owe Julia Kopecky a Mismatch Brewing lager. That's what they owe her.
Yeah,
she did a
precisely.
lot.
So, for Liverlula Jaco, sprinting with Georgia Baker today, ultimately, she actually crashed. She was caught up in that crash. She hit the ground pretty hard. I hope she's okay. I think it was the right play. Without a shadow of a doubt. They're not going to help.
What they're trying to do is they feel like Ali's the big favourite. Let's wear out FDJ's team by making them chase. It's a risk by them not helping. They may not catch the break, and that almost happened. It came with 2:50 to go. And the other risk is that if you're just sitting towards the back for the majority of the stage, they left their run too late to come forward and bring up Ruby or Georgia, whoever it was that was going to take the sprint for the day. They left it too late, and they got themselves caught up in that mix-up with 4K to go.
That's
one of the risks, though. If you sit at the back and you try and move up at the most hectic time, you risk crashing, and we saw it. And that's just part of the bad luck. And I think the tactic of letting FDJ do all the work was beautiful. It was so smart. They played a blinder up until they fell down. Which is unlucky.
And even the crash as well. To talk about it for a second here, it was a case in point of, I think, a human-powered health rider just overlapped the wheel who was actually on the inside. So they were really well positioned to live in Lulajaco. They were on the left-hand side of the road. They had 3 or 4 bodies together. You basically stick to one side of the road and you just move up when the road opens up. So when there's a surge on one side and when you get that window, you drive through
If it opens up, though, that's another risk.
It inevitably always opens up. It always opens up on one side, particularly when they were so well positioned with 4K to go on an uphill drag towards the line. It would have opened up. And the crash is just pure bad luck. Like, you can't say of anything else other than that. It was just a racing incident. One thing I do want to talk about before we move on, defending champ, EF, Rug. The class, she finishes 4th today. Doesn't that just underline where they're at the moment? They're one rider down, yes, but that's a very, very solid finish for someone who is probably mixing it with riders above her pay grade in a sprint.
Yeah, Rug's fast. She's rapid, and she's obviously in the box seat. She's come back here to win. They looked very motivated on the start line. I did speak briefly with her because she was right next to Magdalene Velez, the world champion. They're here to win. They're not here to stuff around. And that moves us to our Society Player of the Day, Tommy. We've got to pick our new segment, of course. It's the best player of the day, the moment of the day. Of course, brought to you by Society. Get yourself some kit, Roadside 15. Who is your player of the day after stage 1?
There were some pretty easy names to be thrown around for the player of the day, the Society Player of the Day, weren't there? I'm going to go a little bit left field. Amber Crack from FDJ. She was on the front. She was a worker for Demi Vollering today.
With Ali Wollaston. Demi's.
When did I get that wrong?
She's she is.
That's a Freudian.
In Bardstown.
She was on the front for Ali Wollaston all day, wasn't she?
She did a ton of work.
She just did a mountain of work. So we speak of how impressive her team were today. And Ali herself, in the post-race presser, just said, I can't stress if there's going to be a sprint. All I can hope is that I get the chance to sprint, and I put it entirely onto my teammates, and she puts it entirely onto Amber, and they did an amazing job, and they set it up for a bit of a team victory, I'm going to call it. What about yourself, mate? Who did you have as a Society Player of the Day? My
Society Player of the Day, without question, Alicia Virgilia.
Yes.
The Uno X mobility rider who was out in the break, 100 kilometres. She didn't just get given 100 Ks. She took it. She probably got given 10 Ks or, maybe 2 minutes. She took a minute herself and then a little bit more. I think what she's done is she's just raised the eyebrows of all of the directors in that Women's World Tour peloton. She was with FDJ 2 years ago. Now she's signed with Uno X. I tell you what, if you want a truck on your team, you need to be signing or re-signing Uno X, this woman, because she is incredible. Only 26 years old, and she held off. You can't forget, riders got dropped out the arse of the peloton whilst this chase was being on. And there were times when the peloton, particularly in the last 60 kilometres, was all lined out in the chase. Everyone in the wheels drafting. It was hard. It wasn't bunched up in a big blob. And Vigilia was still taking time or holding the gap at 3 minutes. So for me, that's my player of the day. Now, it's also time to talk about tomorrow. Tom, we've got our Health Partners Women's Stage 2, Magil to the Paracombe. They're doing 3 times the majestic Paracombe finish. Yep. Very steep climb, 130 kilometres, 1,900 metres vertical.
More climbing than what we see on the final day here, which obviously covers the dual corkscrew ascent. So tomorrow is a very grippy day.
They start on Nortons.
Yep, straight up
Nortons. It's hard.
Yep.
1,900 metres. It's going to be really tough. We put the mortgage down when we predict our winners, Tommy. So let's put the mortgage on, one rider each for tomorrow's stage before we wrap up.
I'm going to change mine from who I initially started
here
out
we
with.
go.
No, but I'm locking in one. I'm going to go with Mata Lock. So the Polish rider from SD Works, I think she was good today. And I think she's going to be, because otherwise I was firming up with Ruby Rose McGannon. And then Ruby Rose, she did get caught up in the crash. It halted her up. And I just wonder maybe if she did just sort of come down a little bit. I don't know.
She didn't. She only put a foot down.
Okay.
She definitely did not.
Okay.
But I will get Marta Lock's head tattooed on my back. I'll get a back piece.
You've heard it here first.
There is no way on earth. Marta Lock is a classics rider. She is a classics beast.
Tomorrow's a classic stage.
It is definitely. I don't think so.
It is a classic stage. No, you watch. Okay, let's wait and see. Who do you have?
I'm talking about Roubaix classics.
Who do you
Marta
have?
Luck. My pick, Naomi Rugg. We've gone 2 completely different riders.
That's so easy.
I picked a rider who can win,
Yep.
And I think Naomi Rugg stamps her authority on the race tomorrow. Really looking forward to it. We'll be back tomorrow for a second daily episode. Tommy, any last words?
No, I don't. Good day, good first day. Let's sort of the ball's rolling, get out for a ride.
Time to crack some mismatch brewing, I reckon. Couple of lagers. We'll see you tomorrow.